Picture this. It's late at night and you're home alone and hear a soft knock at your door. You peek through the curtain and what you see leaves you numb. The kids outside look normal at first, but then you notice their eyes. They're completely black with no whites and no iris. They're simply a dark void. They ask you to come in with calm, polite, even robotic voices. But every fiber of your body screams, "Don't open that door." Welcome to Supernatural Signals, where the screen meets the spirits. Today we're tuning into one of the most creepiest modern legends of the paranormal, the Black-Eyed Children. So before we jump into the stories and details of this strange phenomenon, let's take a moment to understand what the Black-Eyed Children, otherwise known as BEKs, are usually described as. First, they're usually between the ages of 6 and 16 years old, and they are dressed strangely, usually hooded or sometimes in outdated clothes. They use monotone voices, emotionless tones, even when they claim they are in dire situations. Additionally, they usually have pale skin tones, and they will insist on entering your home, your car, or using your phone that can be best described in an aggressive manner. And of course, those completely black eyes. These stories first hit the internet in the late 1990s, starting with a chilling account from journalist Brian Bethel. He described two boys in Abilene, Texas, around the ages of 9 and 12, asking to be let in his car when he parked outside a movie theater. They said they wanted a ride so they could get money from their mom to see a movie, but something about them felt extremely unnatural, as if they were playing human. Or what's even more creepy to me was that they were mimicking children, something we humans are instinctively made to protect. Then he noticed their complete black eyes, which made the man's heart sink and quickly refuse, arguing the movie already started, and rolled up the window. Brian continued to ignore the protest from the children, which included banging on the window and saying, "Let us in, we can't come in unless you tell us it's okay." The journalist quickly drove away. And although he was the first reported encounter, he certainly wasn't the last. Now that we have a better understanding of what the Black-Eyed Children are and their origin, let's go through a few of the most unsettling encounters. Starting with the late night knock. A woman and her husband living in Vermont were home alone one evening when they heard a knock at the door. When the man answered, two children stood outside. They asked to come in to use the phone as they needed to call their parents to come pick them up. Despite feeling uneasy, the couple let the children in and quickly regretted it. Their pets immediately hid, and the husband's nose began to bleed the moment he looked into the children's dark, lifeless eyes. The kids didn't speak. They just stood there, staring. As the wife rushed to help her husband, the lights began to flicker. Then, as soon as it began, the children finally spoke. "Our parents are here." A black car pulled into the driveway. Two tall men in suits stood beside it, waiting. The children walked outside and disappeared with them. And if you're wondering what happened next, well, that's another chilling story in itself. Both the husband and wife later reported strange dizzy spells. And soon after, the husband was diagnosed with skin cancer. Story 2. The camping encounter. David Krabs was planning a peaceful solo camping trip in Michigan's Sleepy Bear Dunes. But what he got instead was something he'll never forget. As he pulled into a parking lot near the trailhead, two kids approached his car expressionless, eerily still and completely out of place. They asked if they could give them a ride so they could call their parents. Their voices were flat and wrong, and their eyes, of course, pitch black. Shaken, David drove off, but not home. As he was still in shock, he continued on toward the backcountry campsite. "I wasn't really thinking," he later admitted. "I just talked away my better judgment." He hiked nearly an hour into the forest, reaching an empty campground. Normally, the solitude would have been a gift, but that night it felt like a trap. As he set up camp, a creeping paranoia settled in, like something unseen was circling just beyond the trees. After enough swigs from his flask, he managed to fall asleep. The next day, instead of leaving, he stayed. That evening, David drove into a town for dinner, returning just as the sun began to vanish behind the trees, and with it, his sense of safety. As rain started to fall, he pulled his coat tight, switched on the flashlight, and hiked back through the darkness. The storm howled through the dunes, and the waves crashed in the distance. Every few steps, David stopped, convinced someone was behind him. Then, just before reaching his tent, he turned. And there they were. The same two boys, standing just feet away, staring, completely still. Then one of them spoke. "Help us," the boy said. "We're lost. We can't find our campsite. Please take us with you. We're afraid." Something inside David snapped. He said the words before he even realized what he was doing. "Okay, you can come with me." The boy smiled and reached out to take his hand. And that's when it hit David like a punch to the gut. He yanked his hand away and ran, full sprint through the forest, not daring to look back. Eventually, he dove off the trail, turned off his light, and hid in the underbrush. Hours passed with no footsteps and no voices. There was nothing. Until night fell again. From outside his tent, he heard it. "Help us. Please let us in, mister. It's so cold." David screamed, sobbing and repeating, "No, no, no," over their pleas. At some point, he passed out from exhaustion. When he woke, the storm was gone. Outside his tent lay the body of a duck, its heart ripped out. David packed, fled the campsite, and drove straight home. He hasn't seen the black-eyed children since, and he hopes he never will. My advice, he said, don't listen to them, don't be polite, just run, and don't look back. Alrighty, now that we have a better understanding of some of these encounters, let's jump into some of the theories that are going across the internet about what these entities could actually be. And then, of course, we'll go ahead and jump into my personal thoughts and my own theories before we finally wrap this episode up. Theory 1. Demonic entities. Some believe that black-eyed children aren't children at all, but something far more ancient and malevolent. Their pitch-black eyes are said to be a sign of lack of soul, a shell disguising something inhuman. Similar to vampires in folklore, they often require permission to enter your home or your space. It's a recurring theme across cultures, that once invited, these beings can drain you of energy, of wealth, or worse. Like vampires in folklore, they often require permission to enter your home or your space. It's a recurring theme across cultures, that once invited, these beings can drain you of energy, of health, or worse. Many who've encountered them reported sudden illness, nosebleeds, or even long-term bad luck soon after. That's why some believe BEKs aren't just spirits, they're parasites, and letting them in opens doors to more than just physical space. Theory 2. Alien hybrids or men in black. Others suggest they may be test subjects, hybrids of alien and human DNA sent to observe or interact with us. Their slightly off behavior, the outdated clothes, monotone voices, and unnatural speech could be glitches in biological disguise. Some even connect them to men in black, strange government or extraterrestrial operatives who monitor paranormal activity. The emotionless demeanor, the eerie calm, the sudden vanishing, it all fits too well with old UFO lore. If true, the black-eyed children could be watchers, and we're simply the experiment. Theory 3. Urban legends and mass hysteria. On a more skeptical note, many believe that the black-eyed children are simply a modern myth, the digital ageist version of the boogeyman. The stories started spreading in the late 1990s, especially online, and they've only grown from there. Like Slender Man or Bloody Mary, the idea may have taken a life of its own. A mix of internet folklore, fear of strangers, and our own imagination. But even if they are just stories, why do they strike such a deep nerve? And why do so many people swear they've seen them? Oh, right. So now that we have a better understanding what the internet has to say about this strange phenomenon, I want to share what I think. So here's where I stand. I don't think this is just a mass hysteria or internet folklore. I fully believe people are encountering something real. And one of the biggest reasons is how eerily similar these encounters are to the phantom social workers I talked about in a previous episode, linked below. And those weren't just stories, they were documented cases. Now, as far as the alien theory goes, I don't think these kids, quote unquote, are aliens in the traditional sense. I've said before that I don't believe most extraterrestrial entities are here to harm us. In fact, I think many are just curious observers. And in a weird way, I think the spirit world and the alien phenomenon might actually be connected. But I'll get deeper into that in another video. These things, though, I don't think they're curious or neutral. I think they are demonic. And no matter how much they plead, no matter how vulnerable they appear, I don't think they should be let in, ever. There's something especially sinister about the way they disguise themselves. I've said it before, humans, especially women, are instinctively nurturing. We are hardwired to protect, especially when it comes to children. And being that it uses that instinct against us, that's a predator in disguise. And I know this is a strange analogy, but please bear with me. The other day I was cuddling my cat named Kitty. She had just finished her dinner and was being extra cute, licking her paw and wiping her face like a tiny fuzzy queen. It was adorable. And then the next day, I saw a hornet outside my window. It landed and it did the same motion. It was grooming itself just like Kitty, licking its little legs, brushing its head, and for a split second, I actually felt bad. I thought, maybe I've been too hard on hornets. That was kind of sweet. I told my boyfriend and he laughed and said, "Baby, they will sting you the second they get the chance. Don't let them fool you." And honestly, that's exactly how I see demonic entities like the black-eyed kids. They mimic things we're drawn to, the innocent, the helpless, the childlike, because they know our weakness. They want you to drop your guard, but once you do, they'll strike. The animal kingdom actually teaches us a lot about the supernatural if we're willing to look. Some creatures, like dogs and cats, are companions. They love and protect us, and we do the same. Others, like raccoons, deers, foxes, should be approached with respect and caution. They have boundaries, and so do we. And then there are hornets. They might trick you into thinking they're gentle. They might mimic something sweet. But if you trust them, they'll sting, and they won't care how nice you are. Alrighty, thanks for joining me on this chilling case file. If you have your own encounters with the black-eyed children or anything else strange, you know what to do. Drop your stories in the comments and I'll check them out. And if you'd like, please follow me on my Instagram account at supernatural_signals. And as always, stay curious and stay tuned to the supernatural. Thanks for watching.